Hello, it's me again. I'm pretty tired today. I'm not going to be on very long, I don't think. I always start that stream saying that though, don't I? I always say, I'm not going to be on long, and then it's like 2 hours later, I'm done. But no, seriously, I'm really tired. I spent like literally a whole day yesterday cutting the grass. It was first cut of the year. So I'll just see if I can get the chat up. I haven't really got masses of exciting things to talk about today anyway, really. It was just a catch up, show you some of the things I've been working on and stuff. Hang on, just pause that. Point you down at the mat, if I can. Yeah, so I'll just point you down there a sec, just to pop out the chat. Did anyone catch Stephen's live streams the last few days? Stephen Lewy Terrible Fire. They were quite good. Well, they were very good. I enjoyed both of them. The first one, he was primarily focused on some Spectrum stuff, but the one he did yesterday was a bit of a mix-up, really. Some Amiga stuff, but also an Amstrad CPC 6128, I think it was. Is it the 6128? It was the newer one. The one with the plus sort of hardware that can do more with sprites and things like that. 128K. I think it was like the last in the range, wasn't it, before they stopped making them? So yeah, so we've got some people joined. Hello Adam Summer. Hello Money in 1985. Simon Zarafa. Hi. Stu Roro. What are we fixing? I'm not sure yet. I'll talk about a few things. It's just a catch up, really. Show you what I've been getting on with and what's been going on, really, and what I'm planning to do, perhaps. Yeah, Richard Clifton, hello, hi. John Flower, hello, hi. Mercy, Mike Simcox, Bocca's Retro Stuff, hi. Hi guys, right. The one thing I've just done, I've ordered an A2000 power supply adapter. You've seen the one I've been using on the A4000 over there with my ATX power supply, but I've got a couple of 4,000, well, not 4,000, 2,000 motherboards here and some Zorro cards and things. Now, this is one of the cards I've got. This is a Great Valley Products, a GVP. What's it called? Combo. It's called a GVP Combo. I'm not exactly sure of the exact model number because there's a number of these. This, I could be wrong. No, I think it was Tom. So he gave me this with a load of other stuff. It's dead. It's faulty. I don't think I'm going to be able to repair it, but I thought we'll have a go at it, perhaps in another stream, which is why I've ordered that A2000 power supply adapter. It just saves me tearing down my A2000. Did I say A4000? A2000. It saves me tearing mine down to get the power supply out to power my motherboard, to connect this up to do some probing. And that's the only way you can do it, really, is with a board on a mat or something. If you try and do it within the case, this is going to be sat inside a case. Well, try and start scoping and probing the pins and things on here. It's incredibly difficult, but I'm hoping should be able to get on the mat probably in 2 or 3 days' time. It might be Wednesday or Thursday before it arrives, that power supply adapter. But I can have a look at this. I don't know how far I'm going to get with it because there's a lot I don't understand about how what you need in order to get the 68030 up and running here. From what I remember, when I looked at this last time, I only spent an hour or two. There's two things. Can you see? Let me show you up here. Can you see it's had some impact damage here? I'm not sure how well it's going to focus on this camera. Yeah, it's had an impact, and it was quite severe. It's like, if you look at it side on, it's like squished outwards, and it's a 4-layer board. So it just so happens that has gone, it broke a trace here. You can see I fixed it. It broke one trace on the outside there, so I patched that up. But also on this side, and you're not going to be able to see this at all. I would have to put you on macro on my normal camera, I think. There are 3 traces here that I've fixed. And what I had to do with these here, and I think this is related to the SCSI, because if you follow them, they kind of go up here somewhere. But anyway, nevertheless, I did fix them and I've measured them and they're okay. But that isn't the issue. I had to scratch for like literally 10 or 20 minutes until I could see that layer inside, because like I say, the point where it's got squished here, it had compacted them and fractured them. So yeah, that's one issue with it. But I think the main thing that's wrong with this is the way this shipped to me at a 50 megahertz crystal. It had been overclocked to 50 megahertz. Now these pals here, get, they are pals, aren't they? Yeah, they get super hot, even in normal operation. Well, as soon as you overclock something like this to, you know, run at 50, you're overclocking these programmable parts, because this is a programmable part as well. This Mac, yeah, I think it is. Could be wrong. Let me know if you know otherwise, but I think that's, is it AMD? What's like the AMD symbol? I think it's a, yeah, Mac programmable chip, you know, kind of think CPLD, you know. So, yeah, anyway, that'll be something to look at in a future video. What we're going to do with it actually is see if I can buy another one, or even borrow one if someone's got one with the same, in order that I can just literally rule out those pals. Because if we could work out which pal it was, you know, on that board, we might be able to do something to try and work out the equations or something somehow. I don't know. And hang on, Rosa wants to come in. Come in, Rosa. Yeah, she's oh, hang on. She's just wandered off over there. You can see she's got one ear. Yeah, she lost the other ear a few years ago due to cancer. So, have we still got people viewing? Yeah, 39. It's getting towards tea time, so yeah, I'm not going to be on that long anyway, really. I finished recapping that Spectrum. So, yeah, as boring as it is, we'll just have a quick look at those. It's only going to take 1 minute. Those are the remaining caps. The other ones are through in the bin. The other two we checked in the previous stream. I'm guessing these are all going to be all right. Now, something a few people said is, you know, oh, those caps are well over. You know, that's probably a sign that they're leaking. The thing is, Sinclair used 50% tolerant caps. You know, the plus minus 50%. So that one's showing 109 there. It's actually 100 that. ESR 0.22. Again, that's very low for what it is. And obviously the voltage has a relationship to the ESR as well. You know, you'll get a different ESR based on the voltage rating of a cap. Same again, look, that's another 100 shown at 108. Very low ESR, I think. Again, like I say, I've not even looked at the voltages on these. They're about 16 volts or 25 volts or something. But anyway, I'm darn sure all those caps were all right. Yeah, that one's a bit higher impedance, not impedance, ESR, you know, it's almost an ohm there. It's a good idea to swap them on Spectrums anyway. Because you've got like that minus 5 volt supply, haven't you, and a plus 12. And if those aren't right, you rammel down them, so... again, that one wasn't far off, that was a 22. All these other ones are 22s, I think, these here. Let's see what that comes out. Yeah, same again. They're all sort of much of a much and so on. They are a bit near to an ohm, these ones. They weren't quite as high as that on the last ones we took off, were they? Yeah, that one's over, look, 1.4. So, yeah, anyway, I'm glad we swapped them out. I will do the other Spectrum as well in another, at some other point. I won't do it as a stream. I'll just order another cap kit and I'll do that. Oh, look at that one. That is a 1 microfarad, but still... Yeah, in fact, when you go down lower, you do get higher ESR, so that might be normal for that cap, but still, 1.6 ohms, it's a bit high. Yeah, there was a 1 microfarad there, I think this is another 22. Oh, it's not. Is that a 1? Let's just have a look. I didn't realise there were 2 1s. I thought there were only 1. Yeah, that's definitely a 1. Let me just check that one again. Oh, that one's a 1. Yeah, there were 2 1 microfarads. I'd just forgotten. Because it wasn't yesterday I did the recap, it was the day before, I think. Yesterday I did the garden. I was out there all blooming day cutting that grass. And my strimmer broke at all. Oh, just what I need. Now I've got to get a new strimmer. The alternative is I could take the strimmer to pieces. I was thinking about doing that on a stream. I'll bring the strimmer in here and take it to bits and see if we can work out what's wrong with it. What was happening is you pressed a button on it, and instead of going full speed, the motor, it started to go a bit slower, like half speed. I thought, that's strange, and I pressed it again, and suddenly it didn't work at all. So, yeah, something's failed in it. I tried rotating it, you know, to get the motor going in case it was like brushes or commutator, but that didn't seem to have any effect, so I'm not really sure. So the other thing I did just before the stream is, this came from Tom Meads as well. This is, I think, a ROM switcher. I haven't tested it yet, but what I have done, as you can see, is I stuck another socket on here, because this had some broken pins on the corners there. And I think I did ask Tom, can I keep this? Well, I didn't ask him if I could keep it. I said, what do you want me to do with it? And he says, oh, you can keep them. I don't want them. That's how the conversation went. So I was like, okay, well, I'll solder a socket on there rather than desoldering all of these on both sides, because that'd be a trauma, an absolute trauma to desolder all those and then put them onto a new socket. And time consuming and fiddly. So yeah, all I've done is just solder the socket straight on by putting a bit of solder on the first two pins here. Same on the actual top pin, the top parts where the pins were missing, and then almost squish them together and then just heat that point using the iron. So I mean, you can see there melted it a little bit, the socket, but the main thing is we've got a decent set of pins on there for little to no work. It only took me literally a minute before the stream to get that working. Well, I say working, I haven't tested it yet. So because I've had the 4000 on. I'll talk about that as well as we go back over there in a minute, but we'll test that. This thing, I think, also is a ROM switcher, but I haven't got, well, we need some way, I'm guessing, of putting pins in here that go into a socket, if that makes sense. So I've ordered like a double-sided pin header thing. It's a socket, but it's not. It's because it's obviously got lots of male parts on it. But what I thought we could do is I could temporarily test this way. I've got some of this double-sided pin stuff here, as you can see. So in theory, I mean, it's not quite big enough. Can you see it's one pin short? But I've counted this, and it seems like this is 21 pins on each side, 42 pins. So it must be to accommodate the what is it, 1 meg chip or is it 512K? I forget. But the ones you get on an A500 Plus. So that shouldn't matter too much actually. If we just put these strips in there, in theory, it might just allow it to work. I don't know. We need to add a wire or something on this somewhere to switch it over. It's not a very tight fit, that, I have to admit. That those went in there pretty loosely. I'm guessing it had something like this in there originally. It's before I got to it. Let's just see if we've got another one of those silver ones there, because those are a bit easier to fit. Yeah, this one's got like wider bits at the top here. Anyway, let's just see if we can fit that one as well. I'm not sure if I've got these both the same way now. I think I have. Yeah, it's a bit loose, that. I might need to move these down. They might not be in the right place yet, but we'll have a look at that when we go over to test that in a second. What was we going to do next? So I think I might just wheel you over there. We'll perhaps take those with us anyway, because we're going to need them in a minute for the 500 side of things. So let me just move across the other side of the room. We'll bring the Mac as well. Hi, I see Error42's just joined. Nice to see you again. And Dennis, Retro Game Revival. Stuart Cohen, hello. Great, John Zini, hi, hello. Sorry, you don't want to look at that. So you can see the the camera's going crazy. Let me just see if I can adjust it a bit. That's a bit better. It's a bit more centered. So yeah, this is the A4000 for Stephen. I've been trying to finish things up. So like the things for Tom that you see in the CD32 and that 8500 motherboard that had the seal fault, that's all cleaned up, boxed up, it's all packaged ready. It was just these ROM adapters, but as Tom said, I can keep them. I think I'm ready to send those other things back to Tom. But this is the board for Stephen, and you can see it's got a terrible fire sticker there where there was a terrible fire. That's where all the pads have been ripped off by someone previously. But I mean, I've spent a lot of time on this again today. Switch this off. See if I can get you a bit closer. So I spent more time cleaning up some more of the pads and the traces around here. It's super time consuming. What I've got to do though is kind of draw a line under it and say, well, I think I've done enough. I've looked at all this area like super closely. I could reflow Paula here and Alice a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if you can tell. It looks a little bit oxidized and stuff around there, but I mean, it's been cleaned up with the fiberglass pen, and it's been cleaned with vinegar and IPA. And it's a similar sort of story down here. I finished cleaning up around here now. I also tinned up the stuff here. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Yeah, these wires were all exposed before. They're all coppery, and that trace was coppery. So I spent some time cleaning all that up. I can just show you, we need to test that actually before I do what I was going to do, because the final thing I was going to do to this now before I give it its final clean off camera and then send it back to Stephen. Hang on, probe's pulling the thing over. Besides testing it, I want to get the jumper thing back on here in a sec, the pin header. I want to take a sec to solder it back on. But before we do that, I've powered it up now and we can just check, you can see if these jumpers are going to actually work. One side of them should be high and the other side's low. So if we just check the low side first, they're all low, low, low. That side should be all high. That shows the pull-up resistors are there in relation to the high. And these are some of the pull-up resistors. Some of them are the underside, but just checking these here, these vias, just make sure they're all high. There's one in the middle which is a low, but that's not a jumper, that's something else. High. And likewise, you could test the actual resistor point itself there, but that just goes straight to the via, so there's no point in doing that. So those are all alright. So I think we'll just wheel this back over there, stick the header thing on there and solder that back on. I wasn't going to bother. I haven't on this other board. I'll show you. On this other board, I'm not going to bother because this one's going to be the one I keep. This is the A hole board. So this is the one I'm going to be keeping, and this one's more scary. You can see what I had to do to this. I had to piggyback a chip on there in order to get that right, because someone had previously lost everything around this area here. There was no other way to achieve repair on that. So that was my reasoning, I think. And this one's been a pain. This board. This has been a serious pain. So I thought I'm going to keep this board. We'll give Stephen the one board. Well, it's another terrible fire board, isn't it? It's got a terrible fire logo on it. It's waterproof, by the way, that logo. Yeah, so I'm going to keep this board. I also think that this board will be more robust. If Stephen's going to be throwing this around and stuff on his bench, it's going to be a lot less damage, susceptible to damage here, because there's literally hardly any bodges on it. There is on the underside here where the terrible fire has occurred, but even still, it's quite minor compared to this. The other thing with this is, because of the nature of the way I've had to fix this, these jumpers won't work. What I would have to do is 6 of the pins there that are currently probably just soldered to 5 volts VCC. I'd have to have 6 wires. So there'd be 3 or 4 more wires to what you see there now. It looks pretty messy as it is, but you know what? It works 100%. So for me, that's fine. I think I'll keep it that way. Something else I'll just point out while I remember. See the socket there? That's the one we fitted in a previous stream. And there were a lot of people saying, actually, these sockets bow out. If you cut the bottom out, they bow outwards. Now, can you see it is bowed? Yeah? But just look at this one. This is an original one. Yeah? It's not got the thing missing. It's never been cut or anything like that. And can you see, look at that bottom edge? Can you see how bowed it is? And actually the other edges, if you look at them carefully, they are actually bowed. So yeah, when people tell you not to cut those out because they bow, it makes next to no difference. It seriously makes next to no difference. That base bit does not have any bearing on the sensors of these being able to be, held tightly in. I've compared to a similar socket I've got on another board for another completely different system, and it's the same story. A manufacturer's socket looks bowed, and look at how it's been fitted. There's nothing ever been cut out of it. So yeah, I would ignore that. If anybody ever tells you don't do that, what a mess you've made of that. You shouldn't have cut the bottom out. Now it's bowed. That's nonsense. Hopefully you could see what I'm talking about here. That is definitely bowed. Maybe not as much as the other one, but it definitely is. I actually think it's probably the structure, the type of plastic it's made of that makes the biggest difference. Cheap socket like this is more likely to bow out. Sturo, get that. Hang on, I can't see what you said now. Get static cat rubbing it against the board. Yeah. Well, the cats are not on here at the moment. They've all gone out. They don't. To be fair, the cats don't actually go near anything. The nearest I've had is one of them might just come up to the edge of a board like this and sniff the corner of it, stay in a distance. And generally I'll move them away because they are little mobile walking ESD generators. Anyway, so we'll just switch this off. We'll just wheel it back over there. I'll stick those jumpers on there. I might be able to give you some close-up of some of the little bits I've done on this, but as I said, this is going to be winging its way back to Stephen any day now. The other thing, it's a bit of an update for you as well. Something else I've learned, learned from my, not mistakes, but learned from my experience, I guess, because I've learned something. In the earlier parts of these streams, we had a black screen, didn't we? We were loading games from the hard disk. It would boot fine, and you'd start to load a game from WHDLOAD, and it would pop up with a splash message, and then the screen just go black, and nothing would happen. And I've seen that before, and I've talked about it, and I mentioned it was the same on both boards. But there's a reason for that, and I only discovered today what the answer was, and it's the fact that at that point, I only had Kickstart 3. You can see this has got 3.1. So I found, and it took me a while to prove it this morning, but on the other board, I was testing with these ROMs, and every game loaded every single time. No problems at all. As soon as I swapped to this board, which had Kickstart 3 ROMs this morning, I was getting that random 50% of the time a game would launch, 50% of the time the screen would go black screen. And I tested it for a good 20 minutes, power cycling it, and then I swapped the ROMs over, again, testing again, power cycling it a number of times, and I proved pretty much, as far as I can gather, 100% that it's Kickstart 3 that does that with the hard disk I've got. So if you use Kickstart's 3.1 ROMs on there, it's 100% reliable. So there must be a bug there. There must be something in Kickstart 3 that doesn't like the compact flash card I've got. But that's for certain. As soon as I swapped the ROMs over, I saw the behaviour change. The board that was working 100%, suddenly with Kickstart 3 ROMs was 50-50. You get a black screen, you power it off and on, try it again, and then the game would start. And the inverse was happening. Anything that has any of the board that had 3.1 were rock solid, totally. They would load the game every single time without any issue. So that's just something else I learned today. So it's not going to take a long this. It's only going to be a minute of a job. Really, let's just switch the iron on. The other reasoning behind putting these back on here, because on this board they work. The jumpers are all wired up there. There's no issues. So if Stephen does want to use them for, I don't know why he would need to use them, to be honest, because it's, as I said in other streams, I think that something Commodore stuck there in advance on the basis that they might at some point in future put a different version of Alice, or have like an 8 meg version or something on there, and Lisa to go with it. I'm guessing, could be wrong. That's what it seems to be. So I'm just holding from the other side. I'm going to burn my fingers a little bit while I do this. So I'm just going to solder one of each one here. Ow, ow, ow! I had to let go there, and it slipped down. Look. Yeah, I'll solder one pin on each bank here, and then just see if they're straight. But the other reason for me putting this on is because Stephen's never going to use it, is he? Let's face it, he probably never will. Hang on, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to do it upside down. But it's something to protect that area of the board. These things stick out, so if you were to knock the board, you're less likely to hit the wires and things on the chip and stuff there. Let's just flip that over and have a look at it. Yeah, you can see it's not quite straight. Can you see that? That's why I only did literally one pin of each, because I wasn't convinced it was going to go as straight. Mind you, I could just adjust them because it's only soldered on one side, isn't it? Yeah, let's just redo that one. See if that's any straighter. Yeah, it's still a bit crooked. It doesn't look so clever, that, does it? What you really want is a proper, strip of 6. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's just hold it and solder one more. Ow. Yeah, I'm still not happy with it. I don't know. It's not so bad, that. Yeah, that's not so bad. I think we'll just solder those points now. Yeah, so is he ever going to use those? I don't think so. It feels a bit bare without it, though, I guess. It should be there, even if it is never used. I mean, if you stick a jumper on those, you might, that's the thing you might be asking yourself is, what do those do? If you stick a jumper on it, what happens? And I think not a lot. I think that basically, from my experience, I found that, I think, and I could be wrong here, I think that with certain jumper set, you might find it doesn't boot. I'm not sure why that is, but for the part, you'll find if you set some of those jumpers, you get, when you boot to sys test there, it'll report weird things about the Alice version and the Lisa version. So I think they're literally probably just to identify some sort of version number. I think that's probably what they're for. But you never know, Steve might get some ingenious idea to go away and create an AAA chipset for these. I doubt it. But if he did, then he would need those jumpers. Well, if he does it the same way Commodore originally intended. Anyway, let's just flip that over, see if that's all right. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it'll do the job. Yeah, so I cleaned around here a little bit as well. I haven't talked too much about that, but I shortened some of the bits of wire there and cleaned it all. And again, I cleaned some of the wires and the resistor pack. I've spent a considerable amount of time on this board in total. Both boards, actually. But they have been a labour of love, that's the thing. They have been a labour of love. But as I said at the start of the video, I've got to kind of draw a line and say, where do I stop? I've got to stop at some point. Because there are still just odd little bits where you might think, you could do with tinning that trace. There's a bit of copper exposed, etc., etc. But I kid you not, I could spend weeks. The way I am, I could spend weeks on these still. Trying to make everything absolutely perfect, and there's no point. There's no point. They're both totally functional, and everything works on them. So it's about time I got this one back to Stephen, I think, and then he can be using it under the lockdown. He might not be able to. Depends what other things he's got going on and stuff. Anyway, that'll do for now. So, what else was I going to do with that one? I think that's it for that board. I'm just going to put that out of the way. We'll go and have a look at that 500. I'll tell you what, we'll just test it. Now I've done that, let's just test it. Because it's a famous last words type thing. Not really the last words, but when you do something like that, if you don't test it, it will come back to haunt me later. I'll plug it all in and find it's dead, and I'll be like, I don't understand that, what's the cause? And I've forgotten all about the fact that I stuck these jumpers on here. Plug the mouse in. Just touch the power supply before we connect this up. Yeah, so as I started talking about at the beginning of the video, can you see this adapter here? It's to an ATX power supply. It's got a switch as well. So I've ordered one of those for the 2000. Now I've got sockets and plugs and things. I could make one myself, but it's just the time and the trauma of trying to wire up one of those ATX things, to be honest. I thought it'd be far easier. I'll show you this board has been recapped as well. This is the one that's going to go back to Stephen. So this is the one with the 40 megahertz crystal here for the FPU, and it's the cleaner of the two. There's a little bit that looks dull there. Can you see? It's not. If you look at it super close, let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit. It's not corrosion, it's just the solder is a funny shape. Can you see that? Whereas the other one's got a little bit of corrosion around here on the other one, but I have cleaned that one up as well. But yeah, that's been fully recapped as well. This board should be perfect. Switch it on. Just to make sure I'm not short into any jumpers or anything. Yeah, it's booting again, I think. So I'll just point you at the screen. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. This camera seems to occasionally just do weird things where it decides it doesn't want to show what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Tell you what, let's just load a game on this and just give it a quick test or something. Games. Let's load, I know, Agony. Jamie Morgan was playing that, wasn't he, on Saturday? He did a NHS charity stream there. Just catch up with the chat, see if we've missed anything interesting. Oh, thank you for that donation there, Kevin Cullen. Much appreciated. Someone say 3,000 motherboard. No, it's not. 4,000 motherboard. Yeah. So anyway, let's just try and find that. I'm gonna do redraw, sort. As I mentioned a number of times, this TV does flicker with this screen mode, this interlace mode. AG, where's AG? L. There it is, Agony. Yeah, I played Agony a few times in the past, not a lot, but having watched that stream with Jamie playing all the way through, I think he got to the last level, I'm not sure. He did very well. He played, he got past 4 bosses, I think, or he's on the 4th or 5th, I'm not sure. But I was amazed at the parallax scrolling, but also, as you can see here, I mean, it might be flickering a bit on the camera, but to my eyes here, it's not flickering. And it's super sharp. It's like that there, it's really high res. They used hold and modify stuff, haven't they, for some of the loading screens and things here. It just looks amazing, as you'll see. I might just need to turn the volume up a tiny, tiny bit. I mean, look at that. Fantastic artwork. Hit fire. I'm not going to spend too long playing this. I just want to have a quick test, really, just to make sure that things are working. Yeah, just pay attention to, like I say, the backgrounds there. You get loads of parallax stuff as it goes on. And the levels actually start to look better as the game progresses. You know, you get to like the 2nd or 3rd level with some amazing backgrounds. I do like the way you can just hold down fire as well. It's my kind of shooter. I much prefer it when you can do that, so I have to keep pressing the fire button. So what have you guys been doing today? Anything interesting? I have not done much apart from that ROM adapter you saw me doing. As I say, cleaning up Stephen's machine this morning. I read something yesterday I wasn't aware of, that there was a by SCOM, they created like a Amiga prototype, didn't they, of the replacement for the 4000. I forget what it was called now, but I didn't realise that until today. Actually, they had planned the replacements to the 4000. There are 2 prototypes that exist. I think one of them works, well, sort of. It's a shame that never happened. It really is. He wasted the license, didn't he, SCOM? He really did. He had a golden opportunity, I think. I mean, obviously, they needed a lot of investment, that's the problem, in order to keep the thing going, but still, it's a shame. The only reason I'm this good at this level, by the way, is from watching Jamie's stream. Yeah, I've got the general idea of trying to avoid the things here and just stay at the bottom a lot of the time. It's the easiest way to do this level. Well, on the next level, I think. Might get to the boss. Not even watching the screen at the moment. There we go. It's just looking at chat. Oh, got one of those daggers, look. Floats above me. Oh, Stephen's here. Hi, Stephen. As I say, if anybody's just joined, check out Stephen's channel, because he did a couple of lockdown live streams over the last few days, and they were really good. They were really good. I think the boss is coming up, you know. Oh. Switch this game off in a minute. We'll do something with that 500 board. I'm just going to have a quick look at that, because there were a few things actually. There was the real-time clock. We added the I did it off camera. I added the real-time clock to that A501 memory module, and I'm not sure whether I've solved an issue with it or whether it's it needs a new chip. Oh, this is the boss look. I have never been to this boss before. I used to die pretty early on this. I realised you can press, and I saw Jamie doing this, and something else I didn't know about this game. You've got special powers, haven't you? Press, is it space bar or something, then you can pick from a menu, but I haven't got a keyboard connected to them, man. Just look at that artwork, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It really shows how powerful the hardware was, though, when you see all the, the beautiful backgrounds like this, and the parallax going on, and huge sprites. It's not perfect, this game, don't get me wrong. I think one of my observations with it is it flickers a little bit at time with all the enemy bullets and things coming at you, and maybe the explosions could be better. You know, it's just like a little circle that kind of like evaporates, isn't it, at an angle. Those are the only negative things I could say about this game, though. I think it's very good. And it's very hard. That's perhaps a negative as well. What's that there? With the sword. Ooh, we've got one at the front and one at the bottom now. Top and bottom. It's turned into a playthrough, this, isn't it? I'm just amazed I got this far, though, so I don't know. Let me play something to lose its life. I'll give up when I lose this life. But I'm not fibbing you when I say that I've never been off that first level. I've never even seen that first boss. There we go, I jinxed it. So let's just switch that off. Yeah, anyway, that is working. The jumpers haven't, adding that jumper thing there hasn't adversely caused any issues. I'll just do the final stuff I talked about later off stream, and then I'll get that back to Stephen. So yeah, Stephen, if you can, when you get a minute, just email me, or not me, I don't think you got my email, message me on the Exos forum, your return address where you want it sending. Who do you want me to use? Is there any courier in particular you prefer? I know you sent it out via UPS, so I'm quite happy to do that. I'll sort the shipping out on that. If you just let me know, you know, let's say where to send it, and if you've got any preference on when, and I'll get that back to you over the next few days. So, what was the other thing I was going to do? Yeah, I finished recapping this, as I said at the start of the video. It's not worth me tearing this down again to show you what I was going to show you. Well, you can see I marked it up there as well to say composite 48K recap to 2020. But what I was going to show you on this one, and I can just talk about it, there's one capacitor on these that's the wrong way around in relation to its silkscreen markings, but it's correct. And it's the one that's, as the keyboard ribbon connector sits about here, there's a cap above it, and it's the one above it on an issue 2 board. And the easy way to check that is if you measure on put your meter on voltage DC and measure across it, and you'll find obviously one side, if you measure it the right way, you'll get a positive voltage coming out on the meter, which shows that you've got the negative lead on the negative side of the cap, if that makes sense. So it's really easy to confirm that you've definitely got that cap on there the right way around. It's not very exciting to show though, like I say, and it'd take me 5 minutes to tear that down. Anyway, I'll just bring over the A500. Go find it. I don't know what I've done with it now. What did I do with that 500 board? Oh, I know where it is. It's underneath the 4000s. It's underneath the SD bank. Hang on. There we go. So there's a couple of things I want to show you with this. I've been going through all of my 500 boards here. So this is one of mine because I've got a pile of about 5 over there. I've actually got 7 or 8 in total, just boards like this. So I tested the serial and parallel. You might be able to see that. I'm just off camera here, aren't I? Yeah, I tested. Let me zoom out a bit. Tested the serial and parallel. Marked every one of them with an S&P OK. So like this has still got the dongles in there. I'll just take those dongles out because we don't need them now. But yeah, the serial and parallel have been tested on all my 500 boards. It's not very exciting, but nevertheless, I've done it. Now, the interesting thing with this has got that chip that originally came on my 2000 Rev 4 board. Let me show you. If I just flip this around, you can be able to see the part number on it a little bit better. It's the what manufacturer was it? I forget now. Is it Toshiba? I think it is. Can you see it? Look, it's got a weird part number, TC something or other. Yeah, it's a Toshiba part number that. So that was an early Gary, and somehow it landed on this board. I think it's because I put a proper Gary into my that Rev 4 2000 motherboard. And I didn't have any. This is the only one I had, so I stuck it in here. But I've been able to see a difference in behaviour. I only spotted this when I was trying to test this memory expansion here from Tom. So this is, again, going to go back to Tom. It's the final thing that needs to be done before I can send the stuff back to Tom. So you can see, you know, I cleaned up here. We stuck a diode there in place of that resistor with the black band going to the left there. I swapped out the crystal. The reason being is I found that it was working, it was storing the time and date, everything was fine. I left it overnight, came back the following day, and the time had got corrupted. And then it wasn't ticking. The time wasn't going up, and I scoped it, and there was no 32 kilohertz signal there. So I thought the crystal was faulty, and I swapped the crystal. The same thing was happening, and then I cleaned this pot here again with a bit of deoxit and stuff, and I put the screwdriver in there, and cleaned the board, and at some point it just started working, and I was like left a bit stumped, thinking what was actually the cause of that? What was the issue? Because there's no connectivity issues or anything around there, so I'm not sure if this chip is playing up, because what happened then is after setting the time and date again, the following day, it became corrupted again. It was ticking away, so that the seconds were ticking away, but it had like the wrong month and the wrong day, even though the day before it had been set properly. So I'm not sure whether, and I've ordered some of these, I've ordered some real-time clock chips. I'm not sure if that chip is the issue actually, but we'll find out now when we power this up. But the other thing I discovered, as I say, is some weird behaviour related to that Gary, and I can show you that. I'm trying to think what game it was. I think it was June actually. I was testing June on it. Surprise, surprise. I'm always testing June, aren't I? Which port is it now? I can never remember which one's the mouse on here. I think it's that one actually, first one. So we need the A500 power supply for that. Let me just disconnect the ATX for a minute and plug in the 500 one. So connect that. So I think I've got everything there. Let me just switch it on and see if it comes on. Yeah, it's coming on. So I'll just point you at the screen. I still need to connect to floppy drive, so I'll do that now. Hang on. Yeah, so you can see it's 1.3 the ROM on this at the moment, so I'll switch it off again. Let me just connect the drive up. And I need a power thing as well. Hang on. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera here, nearly knocking it over again. And I'll tell you what, we'll boot it with sys-test first, because what I'm curious to see is that real-time clock lost its, how it will have done, it's because it's not got a battery at the moment, is it? But let's just see what it's doing, see if it's ticking, because it wasn't ticking at one point. Yeah, reset. Yeah, it's ticking away there. What was happening with this yesterday, as I say, where you can see it going, counting up the seconds there, that wasn't happening. Even after a reset, it was just sat there, not ticking away. I was like, what? The CIAs aren't the problem on this either. The CIAs are fine. I even swapped the CIAs in case that was something to do with it, but seemingly not. So a message from Steve there. Also, my Harlequin is finally shipped, so I'll build that on stream. That sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. Parcel Force is my preferred option. Okay, I'll go with Parcel Force, Stephen. No worries. I usually use Parcel Force, if I'm honest. See if I've missed anything. If you've got anything you want to ask me and I don't pick up because I'm useless at following the chat here, just send it me with the @GadgetUK164. If you type the @ GadgetUK164, my name will pop up and you can select it from the list and just press return and type your message and I'll see it because it comes from your text. But don't do that for every blooming message because it'll get super annoying and Stephen might ban you. Hang on. So that's that. So if I stick June in, let's just boot this with June. So I do need to do that test at some point with a real-time clock on there. I've not got a battery now, I need to get a battery for that later. Let's just power cycle it. Now listen carefully to the music on June. I might need to turn it up a little bit. You can hear it as it's loading. It's like you get a bit of a delay in the it's hard to explain. It's like if you think about the tempo of the music, it's not consistent. It kind of slows down a little bit as it's reading the disc, and then it speeds up a little bit and slows down a little bit. It's really noticeable to me because obviously I always use this disc for testing everything. Now I had seen it exactly the same way when I was working on that Rev 4 board, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Let's turn it up a bit. I'll tell you when it does it. There. Slow down again. Do you hear that? Super slow, and it speeds up. Yeah, that's that Gary. That is that Gary. Absolutely that Gary. And I can swap it. I'll swap it and I'll show you. I'll just go and get another board and I'll swap that Gary over and you'll hear the difference. It slowed down a bit there then. It doesn't maintain its tempo. So I'll just switch that off. Hang on a minute, I need a tool to remove the ROM. Not the ROM, the chip. Yeah, so I'll show you. Otherwise it gets a bit boring, doesn't it? Hang on. Let's just move that there. Move this here. Let's just take Gary out. The other thing is, I noticed as well, I've got a video due to go up actually for looking at my Rev 5 A500, my own collection, when I got that out of the loft, and also 500 plus. And in the that Rev 5 500 of mine, I've got the same chip. I didn't realise I already had one of those in my other one. And I think that, I remember when I was testing that, it confused me, thinking why is the music slowing down a bit. So there we go, I've now got 2 of those chips. I'm not going to sell them, I'd rather keep them actually. It's just a rare sort of unique difference between some of these things, isn't it? There can't be that many of them still around because people, have I just bent a pin? No, I haven't. People tend to want to swap out things like that for you know, fully working ones, or, you know, not really fully working ones, but the ones without that bug. I'm not even sure where the bug is, you know, how it relates, but nevertheless, yeah, you'll hear the difference now. It'll probably sound like it's got a continuous tempo rather than slowing as much as it was a minute ago. It's supposed to sound like an intro problem. Yeah, so let's just listen to it now. There's no slowdown. It's consistent. Yeah, so I mean, a few people have talked about timing there related to CIAs and Agnes and stuff. I don't think it's a timing related thing. I think what's going on is it's trying to stream from the floppy drive and there's some sort of contention issue. You know, it's like, hey, he's trying to stick something in chip RAM and there's something different about Agnes that means there's kind of like some sort of weight. There's a sort of weight situation occurring at some point. So, you know, it's kind of like not ready to, to continue streaming the music. So kind of slow, it pauses for a bit. There's something like that. I don't know. It's really weird. But definitely, there's definitely a difference. I'm hoping you can hear the difference there. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Shall I swap that? I don't need to swap those chips back over. I'll just leave that Gary in there for now. So I'm still not sure about this because, like I say, I've had to take the battery out of this in order to test the 4000 again. But what we can do, we can just test that ROM adapter now. Just tilt the camera a little bit, less crazy angle. Now I'm not sure which way this is going to go. I'm guessing the red stripe on the wire is going to be pin 1. What I can do, in theory, we've got a 7.4 series chip there, can you see that? So if I plug this in and then we just measure on continuity on a multimeter to see if the ground and the VCC are joined up on that chip right, that is probably going to be all we need to do, just to be 100% sure it's the right way around. So if I take that out, so that's 1.3, I've got somewhere here a 1.2, can't see it now, where's it gone? Yeah, I'm sure I had a 1.2 here somewhere ready to test with earlier. That's a mystery. Where's it gone? Yeah, just bear with me, guys. I seem to have misplaced my 1.2 chip somewhere. Well, the cat hasn't nicked it. It'd be just my luck. Board. Wow, that is a mystery. That is an absolute mystery. It's just vanished, completely vanished. Well, that's not going to help, is it? Because how am I going to test it without it? Right, anyway, we'll stick the first chip in. I'll stick the first chip into there. One of the cats hasn't knocked it on the floor or something. No, there's no one around here. It's really weird. I'm just looking everywhere for this darn chip and I don't see it anywhere. I'll just catch up with chat. It's not there. It's not. Might be on the mat. Let's just wheel back over here. I might have left it over here somewhere. I don't know. No, I'm not seeing it. Oh, what a pain. Because that was my only copy of 1.2 actually, so if I can't find that, I can't even bloody demonstrate it, can I? In theory, I could stick that in, but then again, it's got the kind of legs there that will damage the socket. That's the problem I've got. Well, I'm stumped. I'm absolutely stumped. That's a Gary. Ah, found it. Do you know where it was? That was on the table there, and it got wedged under there like that. So, oh. Yeah, when Stephen was doing a demo yesterday, his demo went really well, and I was like, Stephen, I think the demo gods are on your side, because when I do demos like that, I guarantee things never go wrong. It will burst into flames, or, you know, it's just a classic example, isn't it, where socket hiding a chip from me. So let's just carefully try and line this up. Yeah, that went in really easy. No problems at all. Let me just get the meter and we'll test on connectivity. Yeah, I think I must have peed off the demo gods or something. They're perhaps distressed at the number of streams I seem to be churning out. That's what it is. Like, oh no, not him again. Hang on. Right, so if we measure from a ground point, I'll shove that negative one in there, and you can see the chip here. So our pin 1's down here, so ground should be there. Yeah, so we've got ground. And then we can do the opposite with the 5 volts. You know, this VCC pin on a TTL 74 series chip is going to be the top left pin there, the upper pin. Now it's B pin. Don't make the mistake of thinking that means it's ground. If I show you on the meter here, oh god, it's a bit blue Peter this stream, isn't it? Hang on. Yeah, for short, so the VCC pin here, you can see we're not getting a dead short. We will do on the ground. You will always see a very low resistance between VCC and ground on these Amiga boards. It's usually like, on this meter it comes up 0.2 something. But anyway, that's going to be the VCC. I'm comfortable with that straight away, knowing that, because it can only go one way or the other, can't it? So I'm sure that's okay. It's got a piece of plastic under there, can you see? And what I will do is just heat that with a bit of hot air, just only 100 degrees-ish, 120 degrees, because you can see the glue is not securing it on the top half of it. It's almost hanging off. But that just means you can kind of sit it somewhere. Should be all right. There's nothing for it to short on. I think we'll probably need a keyboard for this, because I'm suspecting, or maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, I'm suspecting that maybe this is one of these reset ones, because there's no wires or anything. There is a pinhead there, I'll show you in a second, a single jumper. But I'm speculating, can't remember which way this goes round now. I think it's that way, is it? Soon find out. Let's just see if this powers on. Yeah. So the caps lock go off and on there, did you see that? Anyway, so I've moved the keyboard out of the way without shorting anything. And hang on a minute, I'll point at the screen. It's loading June again. I need to stop it. It's getting carried away. I don't want it to do that. I want it to show the sticky disc in screen. Let's take the disc out and power cycle it. Yeah, so there we go. That's 1.2. And if I just down here just a second, can you see the LED is green? Yeah. So if I now try and demonstrate really badly here, hang on. So I'm going to press Control Amiga and try and press Amiga. Here we go, you ready? Can you see the LED? Do you see it orange? It's got orange. Yeah. So I think that's it. Woo! 1.3. So it works. There we go. So that was a super quick fix. Just sticking into the socket, under the socket, and soldering it on with those two pins. It was far easier, I think, than trying to resolder all 40 odd wires on that. That would have been a trauma. So now we've done that one, let's have a look at the other one. I'm not even sure if the other one is a ROM switcher, but yeah, together we might be able to find out. Either that or will destroy me Amiga 500. It's gonna go one way or the other, isn't it? So if I switch the power off, and I need my little screwdriver again. Let's just get these chips out of here. Let's just see how easy this comes out now. Now, the complication is because we've got a socket and a socket, you know, you might want to solder the pins on the other side of that socket as well, just so when you do lever it out, you don't lose one side of the socket, if that makes sense. Because I've literally just secured it on the side where the two pins were broken off. That's all I've done. I can always revisit that. Yeah, that's come out, look. No worries at all. Yeah, so what I mean is, you can see, soldered those, soldered the two here. You know, melted the socket a little bit doing it, but if I soldered up here as well, that would just solve that from, you know, from coming apart like that. It's just a quick and easy fix. Tom said I can keep that, so I'm really pleased with that, because that means I've got a simple ROM switcher there. I've got another ROM switcher to show you after this in a minute, actually, from Buggy, the guy that came up with, well, he does a lot of stuff for the BBC. He gets upgrades for the BBC from him. But also, you might remember, if you've seen it, the A500 and A500 Plus memory expansion you can get from him that gives you 3 meg, in fact. You know, it's got 2 meg on it. So if you've got like a 1 meg Amiga, you can add an additional 2 meg to your system. It's best fitted in a 500 Plus, really, that. Because I think if you stick it in some of the lower machines, you end up with, like, I don't know, 1.5 meg or 2.5 meg of extra of RAM in total. You end up not being able to have 3 meg. So this other one, if we think about this, so we've got our strips of pin stuff here. I'm trying to think, when it's in an A500 Plus board, it goes down one, doesn't it? So you have a gap at the top. Or does it? Let's just do the same thing here now. You can see, because look, I'll show you. We're not in the end. You know, there's 2 pins missing on the end there, because this seems to be for 42 pin chips instead of 40. So if we just stick it in properly there, and we'll do the same thing again, we'll just test the ground and VCC. This is going to be a bit harder, because the big PCB. Oh, that's going to be super hard trying to line that up. Yeah, it's like one side goes in and then the other one doesn't. It might be that they're sort of pulling together or something. Oh, that's gone on. I'm not sure if anything bent there. I heard a funny noise when I plugged it in. So let me just bring the meter. Hang on. Let's just test connectivity to there again. Oh yeah, so we've got a ground. Let's just test on VCC. Let's see one of these here. Oh yeah, and we've got VCC as well. So, hang on a minute. That doesn't really help me now though, because I'm not sure which is pin 1 here. Well, what we can do is test from there. Can you see that? I'm just looking through the camera to see if... Yeah, you can. That pin there, let's see, is it that one there? Yeah, it is. So, we know that if the, it went like that, we're transposing them this way. That makes sense. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got 40. Oh, hang on. Yeah, it needs to be... hang on. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going around in circles here. Let's just take that back out a minute. Because we've got the 42 pin situation again here, look. So, yeah, before you know it, I'm going to get really confused myself with this. Yeah, it doesn't want to be that far tilted that way. Just have to bend your legs. Right, they're all right. Yeah, I just want to just double check that because we've got additional pins, haven't we? If that one goes there, yeah, that's right. The first one we've got plugged in is the second one down. Does that make sense? So we want to be plugging it right aligned like that and having a gap on the first 2 pins here. That was nearly a mistake. It's one of those weird sockets where you put it in and you think, I don't really know whether I want to commit to this. It doesn't really feel like it's going to go in. Yeah, there we go. So let's make sure that's flat. The first thing we need to do, obviously, is just test it now, see if it boots. I'm not sure how you switch over, if I'm honest. There is a chip on there. Is it going to be the same as the other one, or is there going to be a switch? So let's switch it on. Well, that's a good sign. So at least we know it probably is a ROM switcher. That's the good news. If it wasn't a ROM switcher, flames may be coming out of something by now, I think. So I'll try Control Amiga. Let's just see if that does anything. Well, other than a reset. I'm guessing it's still 1.3 still. I'll hold it down, see if that makes any difference. Can't imagine it would. And release it. I suspect this one needs a switch, actually. Yeah, so it still says 1.3. How far from the main road? Fairly close, actually. Fairly close. Can you hear a lot of traffic? Yeah, it's kind of rush hour, isn't it? Even though there's lockdown, there seems to be an awful lot of people travelling around. So I guess the next question with this is, how do you switch this? I mean, I'll hold the camera here, I'll just show you. You can see here there's been a bit of hot glue. And if you look at the traces, it's like you've got a trace coming here to one pad, and then all these ones here are all joined to each other. You know, they're all joined together. So, yeah, I'm wondering if we need a solder bridge over there. I don't see anything else. Some pads there look like they don't do anything there. Yeah, must be that. Must be that. Let's take it off and bridge it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, there we go. We've lost one of the strips. Look, it's still in there. There we go. I'm guessing that's why this has not got any. At some point they've got lost or broken. It's a really weird way of doing it. But I was thinking about this before. I think the reason they've done this is because you need some height, don't you? If it's going to sit this way here, away from here, look at the height there. You know, it's like, look at the chip, and then you've got Agnes, bump, you're straight into Agnes. So you need something to stand it off. So the idea of having a socket and then sticking a strip of pins into it like that raises it up, doesn't it? You could get those, you can get extended long legs, can't you? You know, that go through that way, but yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing that's why they did that, though, to stand it up so that it doesn't get hindered by Agnes there. One worry I would have with that is these pins here, you know, just, it feels like it's touching. You know, I think if I was going to do that, I'd stick some tape or something over there. And it's going to help your Agnes overheat, isn't it? Anyway, let's just wheel over there and put a solder bridge. It was coming up with 1.3, wasn't it? Were you paying attention a minute ago? Was anybody actually watching? Because I can't remember. Was it 1.3? There's the one from Boobit, by the way. I'll do that in a video on its own because I'll have to do some stuff on the PC. You can see here, like, there's a little programming header. You can, you know, connect up to a USB port on your computer and handily, you know, stick your own ROMs. Choose which ROMs you want on there. You know, 4 different ROMs. So I'll show you the programming process as part of that. I'll do a video review on its own for that. So we've got the board here. Let's just inspect that. Yeah, you can see something's been soldered there, look, before, like there's been a wire. And this bit of glue here just makes me think that there was a wire, and maybe it was kind of glued to stop the wire from coming off. I don't know, it's pretty sturdy glue, that. Having said that, I don't see how that would work, actually. Because you got the one trace here going to that, but then nothing seems to go to these two here, and nothing seems to go to those ones there. You know, there's nothing on the underside. It's a bit mysterious, that. Must have grounded somewhere else. Yeah, it might be. I wonder if it's just that wire to the ground or something. I don't see any other solder points there. You know, because when you look at things like this, you're thinking, what's broken off it? At some point in the past, something's obviously broken off it. The wire's come loose or something. What's it got there? Is that a counter? 174, isn't it? So 174. Let's just have a look at that other board, just to compare what's on there. I'll bring the map back over. Yeah, for people who've never watched these streams before, there's nothing professional about my streaming. It's just by the edge of your pants kind of thing. I just run around the room with the camera like an idiot, keep dropping the camera and knocking it over. We lose the power usually, that's the usual fun thing with my streams. I usually plug the electric fire in instead of plugging the extension in. I've done that twice now. Anyway, we're back on charge, so let's have a look at this one. Yeah, this one's got 3 chips, look. This is why I think when I looked at this one I was like, oh, this is doing something more. I think this is why, you know, that's the clue there. You've got three chips going on there. It must be doing something like, you know, hold Control Amiga to do a reset. And this is one's from Amiga Kit. Can you see that? It says there, AmigaKit.com. Who I don't like, if I'm completely honest. Everything I order from them, it takes months to arrive. Right, chips are in there. So it hasn't got the same chip. Let me just see if this. I'm going to look at this up close just to see if it has a 174. Hang on. I'll tell you what it's got. It's got a HC123. It's got a 74 HC74, and it's got a 74 HC32. So the 7474 is a flip-flop. 74 HC32 is an OR gate. I'm not sure what a 74 HC123 is. I'd like to say a counter, just because it says 123, but it probably isn't. It's probably something completely different. So just catching up the comments here, it's going to be a D-type flip-flop, 7474, possibly to output enable of the ROMs, so could be toggle. Those block of 4 pins. Do you mean here? Do you mean those? Yeah? Well, it's like, say, flip it over. Oh, hang on, yeah, you're right. Those do go to something. Ah, it says S1. S1. Well spotted. So that's going to be switch 1, isn't it? Why have we got 4 pads? I think it's going to be the 3 round ones. That square one is a something else pad, I think. I don't know. What's even more mysterious is it looks like nothing's ever been soldered onto it, so I don't know. Where did it come from? Do you know what I mean? Where did it come from? It can't have ever been used, can it? I don't get it. Let's just try and bridge. I'll just temporarily, because I can't bother messing around with wires and a switch and all. We'll just solder something over that. I'm thinking a piece of Kynar or something. Let me just do that and see if it changes to 1.2, because I'm sure it was 1.3, wasn't it? If it does, then I'm convinced we know exactly how it works. Of course, it could be faulty. That's the other thing. It might not switch over, even if I do join the right thing that should be bridged. But I think not. I think it was just, you know, missing the pinhead stuff there to connect it up. It doesn't really matter that bent that, because what I'm going to do is squish it over 2 of the pins here. I'm going to go with the round ones on the basis it's probably going to be 3 pins, and that one on the left probably a test point or something. I don't know. Where's it going? Yeah, it's going to one of the pins on the chip, that, isn't it? So hang on. Oh, I see. We can work this out, actually. Yeah, instead of just guessing, we can work this out just by looking at what's happening here, can't we? If you look to where they're going, one's going to there, like maybe that's the output enable for that chip, yeah? And then you've got a centre pin that goes, oh, where's that go? It's going there. And this one is going to the same pin on this chip, but on the other chip, if that makes sense. So if that's the output enable, it's like you've got one output enable or the other. What I don't understand is why this pin here is going to the centre pin, and that one, sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing there, can you? Yeah, this pin here is going there. Is that output enable, and that output enable? Hang on, that's not going, oh yeah, hang on, it's going to that one there. So maybe the output enables are the outer ones of those 2. But what's this? Is that ground? That might be ground. Yeah, so it's going to be one or the other, isn't it? Which leads me with a dilemma of how is it working? How did we boot from it a minute ago? Because, and what does this chip do then? That's that's the other mystery. It comes. Hang on. I don't know. I'm missing the obvious here. Let me just read the comments in case anybody's shouting anything blaringly obvious at me. Yeah, so somebody, BrookNet there, has kindly put 74HT2 123 dual retriggable monostable. Yeah, so I was kind of on the right sort of thing with counting, wasn't I? It's not really a counter, but it's. Someone says, what is that board? Well, it's a dual ROM board. We know it's a ROM board to start with because, like I said, we've had it booting a minute ago. So it's certainly wired that way. The mystery is how it's designed to switch. You know, because we've got an IC here, we've got a 7417. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. The stream seemed to disappear for a minute. I don't know how long it disappeared for. So I'm not really sure how to go about testing this. We could solder the output enable here. I mean, the thing is though, the output enables, just looking at these, if that is the output enable, it's going to that chip. So then therefore this chip, you don't need to do anything with these here. The chip is doing the output enable. So it's got to be something, somewhere else. If you're on Virgin Media, there was just a massive outage. It appears to be wonky too. No, I'm not. With BT. Yeah, I'm not sure how long that outage lasted. How long did that outage last? Monostable outputs a pulse, basically. Only one. Right, okay. You could achieve that with a resistor and a cap. Well, you had a transistor, perhaps. Someone said, is it one of the pins going to a small IC? Yes, it is. That's the thing. So I don't know how much of that you saw before the internet seemed to go weird. I didn't notice anything here. Yeah, Yeah, someone said Virgin outrage. Yeah, I'm not with Virgin, I'm with BT. So yeah, I think this is the output enable. I think that middle pin's ground there, and I think these are the output enables for each chip, I guess. But the output enable for this one is going to that chip, but the one on the other side isn't. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'd need to draw a diagram and work out what's wired where here. But I'm guessing that that works. I'm guessing that we just need to pull something low somewhere. And it might be this pin up here, I don't know. Because where does it go? Yeah, I think maybe it had one wire there and you just pull that wire low maybe. We could try that. Let's try that, I think. It's a nice theory. I'm probably going to get off soon, by the way. Like I say, I wasn't planning on doing Masters today. It was just going to be a quick stream. Just to catch up more than anything. I might spend more time tomorrow doing some of the stuff in the Archimedes, I don't know. Because I've got that Archimedes A3000 to finish fixing up there. So, just temporarily, I'm just going to solder it onto the pad there. The glue's going to melt, isn't it? It's going to make a smell. Oh, I can't even get to it. That glue's like rock solid epoxy. It's had something epoxied on it, hasn't it, in the past, that. What we can do is just solder on this side here near where the trace goes. Yeah, there we go. And let's just solder a wire on there. And what I'm going to do is just cut this a crazy length here. And we'll try it. I'll actually connect that to ground and see what happens. See if it switches over. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like a good recipe for an explosion. In theory, I should measure it first, because you know what? It could be the VCC connection or something, but I don't know. You've got to go off the clues that we've got, and the clue is that something was soldered on that, or something at some point in the past. It's been glued down, that one connection. I'll try and connect this back up again now. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare to get this in again. Let me try and do the side nearest me, right hand side first. There we go. I'm not sure how, hang on, I was going to say I'm not sure how I managed to do it the first time, but I think I've done it again. Right, there we go. So we've got our wire here. So it's going to be flowy to start with. Let's connect it to this ground here. And let me just hold it down and power it on. And see what happens. And I'll point you at the screen. Oh, hang on, it's 1.3 again, so I don't think that's worked, has it? Unless it said 1.2 before. Yeah, it's not. Hang on. I pulled the wire off and something's happened. Yeah, something's happened. It's grey screen now. I've killed it. Switch it back on again. Oh, I have. I think I've killed it. No, I can't have killed it that easily. Hang on, I've got a yellow screen now. What's going on here? Just move that out of the way. Yeah, I don't think that ROM board's plugged in right. No, I have killed it. Oh no. Let's take a step back. I think what might have happened there might have killed that chip. I think that's more likely. You didn't see that. I'm just straightening the pin on this thing. Edge 2 pins just bent a little bit. Yeah, what I should do really is measure around and work out exactly what's going where. I would be surprised if that's killed it. ROM back in, switch it on. Yeah, it's booting again. What I could have done there is potentially killed the chip on that board, the little chip. So let me just try it with the other ROM. So I'll take 1.3 out, just put 1.2 in again. It would be unusual to just have a single thing like that where you pull something with it, you know, to ground. I'm sure that's not what it's going to be. Unless there's a pull up on the other side of it, I don't think there is. Where's my chip gone now? Trying to find information on some of these third-party boards like this, it's near impossible. I did look at the Big Book of Amiga Hardware. If you've not been to that website, check it out. It's a very good website, but it's not comprehensive. It's not got everything. It's got, you know, it's got most things, but there's lots of things you'll find out there. Certainly, Zorro cards and things like that aren't on there. I've had a few things like that recently where the first thing I did is hit that website to see if they had any information about it or photos and jumpers and all that sort of stuff, and I found nothing. So this is the other ROM chip, 1.2. So yeah, the system's all right. I am not sure exactly what happened there. It could be that this chip is dead now as a result of me shorting that pin to ground. That's totally possible. We can try again. It's not particularly exciting watching again, is it, this? But I ain't got anything else to share just now, really. So let's take that out again. And it's that way around with a gap to the left on the side. Yeah, that yellow screen had me worried. It's going in really easy, that now, actually. I mean, that could be the issue that's not making... Oh, where's flowing? Let's just see. Yeah, it's moving again. It's moving again. So, now it's 1.2, right, let's... What I should do is not do it while it's on. You really need to be doing it while it's off, kind of thing. Let me just wire that to the ground somewhere. Right, it's wired to ground, switch it on again. I'm just testing it to make sure it's not hot. 1.2. Well, we could try feeding it VCC. Let's try that. Trying to find somewhere to attach it to VCC connection. Hang on. I know, there's a 7.4 thing there. I'll stick it in there. Yeah, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to shove it into one of the VCC pins instead of the ground, just to see what difference that makes. It's going to short the supply out, actually, if I'm not careful. Because if it's pulled to ground already, yeah, we might get a small fire. I'll tell you what, I'll just take one of these chips out. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just taking one of the 7.4 series chips out of its sockets on the board. Because there are a couple socketed up here, and then I can shove the wire into the VCC pin and then shove the chip back in. Let's try that. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to the picture there. The camera seems to just go off. Did I disappear again? Nah, still 1.2, so I don't really know. The interesting thing is I just pulled it out and disconnected it, and then the power seemed to go off. On the Amiga, I mean, not on the camera. So, I don't know. I need to do a little bit more research on that, I think. I need to have a look at the pin out of a 174. Is there some kind of timing chip? Is it not a flip-flopper 174? It would surely need two connections for a switch. Yeah, I think it would. I think it would, unless there's a pull-up somewhere. If you've got a pull-up somewhere, then in theory you can have a single thing, you know, you pull something to ground, but if you release the signal, it's pulled high. Do you see what I mean? Or vice versa. But I've just tried that both ways. It doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't seem to do anything. Not that pin anyway. That pin does mysteriously come under a trace to the chip there. So there's got to be something to do with it. But the other pads and things next to this go nowhere. It's gone off again now, so there is something not right with this. There's something not quite right with it. Maybe because it's floating, it's behaving strangely. Like, I've got yellow screen again. I'll show you. I'm sure the Amiga's all right. I'm sure it's to do with that board. I mean, the thing is, you see, if this wire is floating here, it's going to be susceptible to logic state changes, isn't it? It's floating. So it's like it's pointing at one ROM 1 minute, and then the next minute it's pointing at the other one. Does that make sense? You can almost influence that by just moving around it, kind of thing, or touching it to ground. Let's just do that. Yeah, it stopped doing its seek there. So anyway, it's not broken anything, and the Amiga's all right. So I'll pull that out. So I'll have a think about that. I'll have a look at that 174, see how it's wired, and I might do a little diagram or something and report back in the next stream. That might be the next thing to do. Follow up with that, and do a few other things as well. Yeah, so I'll just take you back over there again. There's Rosa, look. The main thing is, we got this one working, so I do have a dual ROM switcher, so I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, I think in one of those boards I'll put that 1.2 so I can swap between 1.2 1.3. To be fair, I think most people wouldn't want to use 1.2. You probably want to switch between 1.3 and 204 or something like that, you know, the one that's in a 500 plus. Right, I am just going to catch up with chat, and then I'm going to go and get the tea, I think. I did say it would be short. Andy Myers, yeah, it's just echoing what I said there about the two connections. I seem to recall switchless ones often works like that. Memory serves, did it not connect to the chip above? Yes, I agree. Pause a switchless via reset. But it doesn't seem to be via reset, because I tried reset, it didn't do anything. Unless there needs to be a wire somewhere, maybe to reset, maybe the wire goes to reset, maybe it's a single wire that goes to the reset signal. Is that what you mean? That might be what it is. So I might have to run that single wire to the reset thing on the keyboard, or on Gary. Pin 5 is on Gary, I think. So I'll catch up later. I don't want to go on and on. I think we've been going on long enough. It's been, what, 45 minutes or so. So yeah, hope you found the stream fairly interesting, guys. Thank you very much, and thanks for the donations and stuff. I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.